What's your background that led you to this point of being involved with the FemTech Collective?
Sure. So I'm originally from the US. I've been in Australia for about 5 years now. I originally came to Australia to study a master's of international relations, really focusing on women's placement and representation in politics and on the global stage, and really coming back to the idea that women's health is quite a globally low priority for a lot of countries around the world. And through this and through my research and through various projects and roles at the University of Sydney, kept realizing that if women's health is going to be put forward, it really is going to be dependent on technology and innovation, because healthcare systems and governments are really lagging, and we can only really push forward through them in so many ways. So it really is going to have to come from innovators. So that's where I found myself in the women's health tech space, or what we coined FemTech. And after working with various FemTech companies, realized that the FemTech Collective, which is originally headquartered out of Silicon Valley, could really utilize an expansion here in Australia. So we've been in Australia for about almost 2 years now. It's about over a year and a half. But at first, really just seeing if Australia had any interest in women's health technology, as far as products and services, but also as an industry that technologists would want to work in. Turns out there's incredible interest in this space, especially for Aussie women wanting these products. But there's quite a gap in the economy right now where the FemTech industry should be. So we expanded the FemTech Collective here as a extension of the global network and a business support service to really start generating that next generation of leaders in the FemTech space, and hopefully make Australia a global player in the FemTech ecosystem globally.
I think we've got a tremendous opportunity to achieve just that. What do you define as FemTech?
Yeah, so FemTech is any product, service, or device that offers support to women's health. We like to be quite inclusive, so this can be anything from a medical device to a direct-to-consumer product to a SaaS application, but also can extend to anyone who might value the service or the product that may not identify as a woman or female, but actually could very well use the product itself.
So contextualizing that, so anything in and around the female life, is it sort of, are there any limitations at all? Is it anything related to female requirements, healthcare, entrepreneurial development? Does it cover sort of anything that just sort of relates to it, or is there something that you're a little bit more narrow on in terms of healthcare, for example?
Yeah, so it's more revolved around health and healthcare. Entrepreneurially, it just happens that a lot of female entrepreneurs come out of the space, but it's not an industry siloed just for women. It just happens that at this stage, a lot of women are coming out of the space as founders because they're creating products that help their own health journey. So it is something that is targeted to women at every stage of life. So anywhere, we like to say anywhere from teenage years to later in life. And that can be, compounded as well, from menstruation, fertility, pregnancy, menopause, so on, but also how mental health is affected at each stage, sexual health and wellness at each stage, and how it develops through the women's health journey.
Great. So, so typically, who would you be seeing as a good candidate to be coming and getting involved with the FemTech Collective?
Sure. So our audience is to founders, innovators, or professionals in the space who are interested in a career shift towards women's health. That's our main focus, but to be honest, it's a wide-reaching audience. A lot of our members just have an interest in women's health, want to see, more of an activist movement pushing forward with women's health being more of a priority. But on the other side of things, they might be an industry professional in the healthcare system, a potential investor, and anyone that's maybe in the health tech space who also could have an overlap or interest in collaboration. So we do try to focus on really generating a next generation of leaders in the space, but it's definitely not exclusive to that group alone.
So that would mean that in terms of the entrepreneurs or the people who are coming into the community, they don't necessarily need to be women. They can be anyone who has an interest in improving health and wellness for women by using innovative approaches and FemTech ideas. Is that sort of a fair summary?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And actually there's, for us, we have quite an interest in having many more male allies and allies from all genders, because power really lies in the men's corner at this stage. So having more men on board supporting women's health is really going to help us move forward. It's just a happenstance that there are a good number of female founders in this space. But the more diversity in the women's health tech space that we can see is really going to provide the best products and services.
Fantastic. And so let's go into the FemTech Collective then. So you mentioned it originated out of the Silicon Valley. You're a co-founder of the FemTech Collective, and you're growing, I guess, the community out here from Sydney. What's the vision? Where do you want to go with the FemTech Collective?
Yeah, so the FemTech Collective's ultimate vision is to be the go-to global network and business support service for women's health tech. So as we sit currently, we have quite the massive global network. Turns out everywhere in the world, there's an interest in better managing and providing more personalized services for women's health. But there are pockets around the world that need a little bit more attention. Australia is what we're starting with at this stage, that require a bit more of this business support service in a couple different facets. So how we found what Australia needs the most is, on one side, really career accelerating opportunities. So anything from virtual networking, because we can't meet in person as of now. Yeah. And that has really been a fundamental thing for the femtech industry globally, is networking and collaboration. And now with those barriers, we find virtual networking is a next best step. Secondly, we have a mentorship program launching mid next year that's really going to be about gathering, these industry professionals who know women's health in Australia, who know the healthcare system, who know business in this arena, who can really see the potential of where it can go, and grouping them with mentees who can make it happen. Some other facets we have is our membership for the community itself, for the global community, that allow you to have special offers and perks in the femtech industry, as well as in digital health. And there's a variety of products, services, courses that we offer to our members at a discount through our partnerships that really allow femtech to be accelerating forward and offer the best support possible. As well as, for us, there is a couple sides to it. I know on one hand, you might really be starting from scratch and just getting your toes dipped in the water through networking, and mentorship may be the way. But on the other side, you might actually be a little bit more developed, looking for more consulting services, more hands-on strategy, in which the FemTech Collective also offers those consultations in the ways of strategy sessions, mentorship sessions, and so on.